Imagine a US president so addicted to alcohol that critics joked he'd take the oath of office with a whiskey glass in hand. This isn't legend, this is history. Franklin Pierce, the 14th President of the United States, is remembered not for his politics, but for his drinking. And behind every glass of whiskey he poured was a life of charm, tragedy, and despair. Pierce rose to power as one of the most promising politicians of his generation. Born in New Hampshire in 1804, the son of a Revolutionary War veteran, he had pedigree, charisma, and a gift for winning people over. Nicknamed Handsome Frank, he was a rising star who loved the social world and loved to drink. But his marriage to Jane Appleton, a deeply religious woman who despised alcohol, was always fragile. Jane hated politics, hated Washington, and hated Pierce's heavy drinking. Still, the two built a life together, raising 3 children. And then came the tragedies. One by one, all 3 of their children died. The final blow came in January of 1853, just weeks before Pierce's inauguration. Their last surviving child, 11-year-old Benny, was killed in a horrific train accident while Pierce and his wife watched helplessly. Jane never recovered, collapsing into grief and prayer. Pierce, shattered, collapsed into whiskey. His presidency began not in triumph, but in unbearable despair. When he entered the White House, he seemed broken from the start. His wife refused to participate in public life, mourning in seclusion. Pierce himself often appeared distracted, hollow, and unsteady. His leadership faltered just as the nation needed strength most. The Kansas-Nebraska Act, passed under his watch, inflamed the growing conflict over slavery and pushed America closer to civil war. Even his own party turned against him. Behind the polished smile was a man drowning his pain, night after night, in whiskey. But here's the twist. In Pierce's era, whiskey wasn't just a drink. It was medicine. Doctors prescribed it for everything from coughs to depression. Pierce leaned on it like a prescription, a daily dose to quiet his grief. But while others took whiskey to heal, Pierce used it to escape. He became the subject of ridicule in newspapers, whispered about in taverns, and mocked as the president who couldn't stay sober. History draws a stark contrast between America's first president and its 14th. George Washington, a whiskey distiller, built one of the largest operations in the country. Franklin Pierce, by contrast, was no businessman. He was a man destroyed by the very drink Washington sold. He once confessed to a friend, "There's nothing left but to drink." After leaving office, his spiral deepened. Jane died in 1863, leaving him utterly alone. Locals saw him wandering through New Hampshire towns, glass in hand, day after day. His decline ended in 1869, when he died of cirrhosis of the liver at the age of 64. America hardly noticed. There was no great mourning for Franklin Pierce. He passed quietly, a forgotten figure, remembered mostly for the bottle that consumed him. Franklin Pierce's story isn't just about alcohol. It's about grief, loss, and how tragedy can hollow out even the most powerful men. History remembers him as America's drinking president. But behind that whiskey glass was a broken soul, crushed by sorrow, who never found peace in life or in power. Whiskey has never just been about what's in the glass. It's about the stories behind it. From forgotten presidents to million-dollar bottles, every drop carries history, mystery, and a little bit of rebellion. If you enjoyed this story, raise a glass with us again by subscribing to Behind the Barrel, because here, every pour has a past, and every past deserves a pour.